Very good morning and welcome to the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha television. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor with you. It is going to be presidential contest at this time as the opposition has picked up Meera Kumar as the candidate against NDA's Ramnath Kovind for the election slated for 17th of July. Kovind meanwhile will file his nomination today. That is our top focus this morning, and here are the other top stories in the headlines. NDA's presidential candidate Ramnath Kovind to file nomination in Parliament House complex today. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, NDA CM's senior leaders from various parties to be present. It is a Dalit versus Dalit presidential contest. Opposition picks Congress leader Meera Kumar to take on NDA nominee Ramnath Kovind. Election is scheduled for 17th of July. Two soldiers killed as Pakistan troops cross LOC, ambush Indian patrol in Jammu and Kashmir's Poonch sector. Indian Army hits back. India slams Pakistan over alleged confessional video of Kulbhushan Jadhav, dismisses it as farcical. MEA says Pakistan should desist from trying to influence the proceedings at the ICJ. And Cartosat-2, India's sixth eye in the sky, to be launched today. The Earth observation satellite to be carried up by the PSLV along with 30 other small satellites. The big focus this morning, NDA's presidential candidate Ramnath Kovind will file his nomination papers in the Parliament House complex today. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, most BJP-led NDA chief ministers and the heads of some other parties supporting his candidature will be present on the occasion. The entire Council of Union Ministers, NDA chief ministers, MPs and MLAs from across the country will be among proposers and seconders of his candidature. Now, Chief Ministers of Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu and Telangana are also expected to be present. All the dignitaries will gather at the GMC Bala Yogi Auditorium in the Parliamentary Library building. Now, 28th of June is the last day for the nominations. Election for the next President of India will be held on 17th of July and counting of votes will take place on the 20th. Incumbent President Pranab Mukherjee will demit office on 24th of July. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Narendra Modi met BJP Chief Amit Shah and senior Union Ministers Venkaiah Naidu and Anant Kumar on Thursday evening. They reportedly discussed Kumar's nomination and also reviewed today's preparations. And earlier, the opposition decided to field former Lok Sabha Speaker Meera Kumar against NDA candidate Ramnath Kovind for the 17th of July presidential election. Now, 17 opposition parties met in the national capital on Thursday to deliberate on a consensus candidate.
And all of us have decided Meera Kumar.
Congress President Sonia Gandhi announcing former Lok Sabha Speaker Meera Kumar as the presidential candidate of the opposition. Kumar, a former diplomat and daughter of late Dalit icon Jagjeevan Ram, was the unanimous choice of the 17 opposition parties that attended the meeting.
This unity of the opposition, this unity represents the coming together of the forces which have strong ideological base. I'm going to contest the election as their representative.
With the NDA picking Ramnath Kovind, the opposition's choice makes it a Dalit versus Dalit presidential contest.
अगर कोई इनसे बेहतर और इनसे ज़्यादा योग्य कैंडिडेट आता है दलित समाज से तो वो सपोर्ट करेंगे. आज उन्होंने अपनी कंसेंट जो नाम आया उस पे दी.
On a name where everybody agrees, we should choose that name, and the name on which everybody agreed without any hesitation whatsoever was Srimati Meera Kumar.
By one and all the 17 political parties who met here today in the afternoon and have unanimously proposed the name आप श्री मीरा कुमार जी.
Earlier, the anti-BJP front was left considerably diminished by Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar exiting the bloc to support the NDA candidate. His alliance partner Lalu Prasad Yadav has requested him to reconsider his decision.
कि इस पर विचार करिए, ऐतिहासिक भूल नहीं करना चाहिए, गलत नहीं होना चाहिए, गलत निर्णय हो गया है आप लोगों का.
The election for the next president is to be held on July 17th, ahead of President Pranab Mukherjee demitting office on July 24th. The Election Commission has issued a notification in this regard. The process of nomination will continue till June 28th. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
On to some other news now. Indian national Kulbhushan Jadhav on Thursday filed a mercy petition before Pakistan's Army Chief General Qamar Javed Bajwa. Now, according to reports, Jadhav has requested that his life be spared on compassionate grounds. Earlier, Jadhav had appealed to the military appellate court which rejected his appeal. Now, under Pakistani law, a person is eligible to appeal for clemency to the Chief of Army Staff, but if rejected, the person can appeal to the President. The Hague-based International Court of Justice has stayed Pakistan from executing Jadhav. Meanwhile, India once again slammed Pakistan's fresh confessional video of Jadhav, calling it farcical. India said that manufactured facts cannot alter the reality in the case and asked Pakistan to desist from attempting to influence the proceedings at the International Court of Justice through false propaganda. Big story from Jammu and Kashmir, where 2 army jawans were martyred on Thursday by Pakistani troops which carried out an attack 600 meters inside the Indian territory. The attack happened in Poonch sector of Jammu and Kashmir. One Pakistani soldier was also killed in the retaliatory action as security forces foiled yet another bid of infiltration. Now, Pakistan's Border Action Team, or BAT, which generally comprises special forces of the Pakistan Army and even some terrorists, carried out the attack and provided cover fire to militants from their posts. An army official said that Indian troops killed one armed intruder whose body was recovered by the Pakistani men under heavy exchange fire. Now, this is said to be the 3rd BAT action in Poonch this year. And addressing a press conference on Thursday, External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Gopal Bagle affirmed that bilateral issues between India and Pakistan will have to be decided bilaterally. His comments came in response to suggestions by UN Chief Antonio Guterres that he is engaged in bringing about a dialogue between the two neighbors. Now, Guterres recently said that he is engaged in bringing about a dialogue between the two nations to resolve the Kashmir issue. Meanwhile, Pakistan has said that the United Nations has a responsibility to resolve the Kashmir issue. The Foreign Office spokesperson of Pakistan, Nafeez Zakaria, at his briefing said that Kashmir is an internationally recognized dispute and is outstanding on the UN Security Council agenda. On to the other big story of the day. India is all set to launch a second satellite in its Earth observation Cartosat-2 series. Now, the indigenous PSLV C-38 will launch Cartosat-2 along with the 29 foreign nano-satellites today. The rocket is scheduled to take off from the Sriharikota spaceport near Chennai at 9:29 a.m.
The 28-hour countdown for the Friday morning launch of India's Earth observation satellite Cartosat-2 began on Thursday morning. Launch vehicle PSLV C-38 will carry Cartosat-2 and 30 other satellites, including 29 foreign and 1 Indian satellite. PSLV C-38 will take off on its 40th flight at 9:29 a.m. on Friday from Sriharikota in Andhra Pradesh, launching the 702-kilogram Cartosat-2 series satellite into a 505-kilometer polar sun synchronous orbit. The 29 nano-satellites belong to 14 countries, including Austria, Belgium, Chile, United Kingdom and the United States of America. The 30 satellites will together weigh 243 kilograms, and the total weight of all 31 satellites, including Cartosat, is about 955 kilograms. The Cartosat-2 series satellite is a remote sensing satellite. The imagery sent by it will be useful for cartographic applications, urban and rural applications, coastal land use and regulation, utility management like road network monitoring, water distribution and creation of land use maps. The international satellites are being launched as part of the commercial arrangements between ISRO's commercial arm, the Antrix Corporation Limited, and its international customers. 160 crore rupees has been allocated for the project. Cartosat-1, the first in the series of Earth observation satellites, was launched on May 5, 2005, followed by Cartosat-2 on January 10, 2007. ISRO also plans to design, develop and launch Cartosat-3 and OceanSat-3. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
Now an update on the situation in Darjeeling. It continues to remain grim as the region is going towards a severe crisis of food, fuel and other essential commodities. Now with the GJM's indefinite strike continuing to stall the normal life in the hills. Now all of the entry and exit points of trucks mostly carrying food items are blocked in the hill region. As the shops and markets remain closed, the prices of essential items have shot up in the market. The prices of LPG cylinders range between 1,000 rupees to 1,200 rupees in such markets. A few hotels which are still hosting guests and other people are also in acute shortage of food and fuel. Meanwhile, in a bid to step up their stir for a separate state in the Darjeeling Hills, the Gorkha Janmukti Morcha leaders have decided to quit the Gorkha Land Territorial Administration. The GJM's decision to resign from GTA comes 2 days after the all-party meeting in the hills, where it was decided that the party will withdraw from the tripartite GTA accord.
পাহাড়ের যে উন্নতি কল্পে কল্যাণমূলক কর্মসূচি যেটা মমতা বন্দ্যোপাধ্যায় গ্রহণ করেছেন তাকে সকলে মিলে এগিয়ে নিয়ে যাওয়ার জন্য যা পাহাড়বাসীর একান্ত প্রয়োজন। পাহাড়ের শান্তি ফেরাতে হবে সবাইকে নিয়েই এবং পাহাড়বাসীর উন্নতিকে আরো অগ্রাধিকারের ভিত্তিতে এগিয়ে নিয়ে যেতে হবে।
ये हम जो कर रहे हैं वो गोरखालैंड के लिए कर रहे हैं। जो पश्चिम बंगाल सरकार स्टेट का जो सीएम है उसने हमें जितना दमन किया है, भाषा अतिक्रमण लेके जितना यहाँ आके पहाड़ में अशांति करता है, इसके विरोध में हम ये रैली निकाल रहा है।
News from the northeast now, and 3 people were killed in Assam due to floods and incessant rains, even as the pre-monsoon showers continue to lash parts of the northern eastern states. Now, as per Met Department, Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura, which are bearing the worst of floods triggered by incessant rains over the last few days, will receive more rains today. Now, Manipur, Mizoram, Sub-Himalayan, West Bengal, Sikkim, Goa, Karnataka and Kerala will also be lashed by showers. More than 60,000 people in Lakhimpur, also Karimganj, Nalbari and Sonitpur districts have been affected by the floods. Meanwhile, 1 person was killed and 3 others were injured when a boulder fell on their car as widespread rains lashed several parts of Himachal Pradesh. 25 people were stranded at Sach Pass on the Chamba-Kilar highway in Chamba district, and they were rescued later. On to some other news. External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj has said that India is working with ASEAN to evolve regional security architecture in the Asia-Pacific to find collaborative solutions to emerging and non-traditional challenges. She was speaking at the ASEAN-India partnership, strengthening the Indian diaspora in ASEAN countries and encouraging historical and cultural linkages.
External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj on Thursday asserted that bilateral trade has picked up between India and the ASEAN after 2 years of slow growth. Her remarks come in the backdrop of India being accused of dragging its feet in the regional cooperation economic partnership talks. Swaraj said efforts are underway to enhance physical connectivity by land, air and sea.
After almost 2 years of slow growth, ASEAN-India trade is now back on track with an increase of 8% in 2016-17, and with India's exports to ASEAN having increased by almost 20% in 2016-17.
The minister said enhancing maritime cooperation and security is a focus area for both ASEAN and India. In her address on India-ASEAN partnership for the think tank research and information system, the minister listed terror financing, arms smuggling, human trafficking, money laundering and cybercrime as major challenges facing the region. India and ASEAN, she added, are working to combat them.
Enhancing maritime cooperation and security has been an area of focus for both ASEAN and India. Combating drug abuse and drug trafficking remains a major challenge in the region.
Swaraj also spoke about India's cultural links as well as the influence of Hinduism in some ASEAN nations. Nav Vikram Singh's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And let's get you some more national news now in Nationwide. As many as 21 fishermen from Tamil Nadu and neighbouring Puducherry were arrested on Thursday by the Sri Lankan Navy for allegedly fishing in their territorial waters. The fishermen were taken to Kang S. Santhai port in the island nation along with their boats. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister K. Palanisamy sought the Prime Minister's intervention to secure the release of the fishermen from the state and 137 boats that have been detained by the Sri Lankan Navy. 4 Indian civil prisoners have been released by Pakistan on Thursday. External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Gopal Bagle said that the released prisoners have reached India. Pak Rangers handed them over to BSF at the Wagah border. The release of the prisoners by Pakistan comes amid escalating tension between the two countries over a range of issues. Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan has called an all-party meeting to discuss the cases of fever outbreaks and other contagious diseases in the state. The Chief Minister further stated that the directions have now been issued to initiate a 3-day cleaning effort with public participation to contain the spread of communicable diseases and various kinds of fevers. And in Breakfast News, time for a very short break. Up next, we have all the sports and international news.
The cement that is being manufactured has got a particular 2 or 3 drawbacks. One is it has to use naturally available materials. 1 ton of CO2. Close to 1 ton is being emitted for 1 ton of carbon, 1 ton of cement being produced. Institutes in this country as well as all over the world has stumbled upon what is called another material called as a geopolymer, which may revolutionize this particular thing.
Watch Eureka with Dr. N. Gopalakrishnan, Director CSIR, only on Rajya Sabha television.
Thanks for staying with us. Let's get to the top international story. As the formal Brexit talks began in Brussels on Monday, now British Prime Minister Theresa May on Thursday set out the UK's opening offer on the rights of EU citizens who are living in Britain. Now May says that EU citizens legally resident in the UK should have the same rights as British citizens after Brexit. Now, this offer is contingent on a reciprocal pledge of about the rights of 1.2 million British citizens who are currently living elsewhere in the UK, in the EU. Now, this is an issue both the sides want to be resolved early in the talks. The EU negotiating team will now open a technical review of this offer.
Even as talks continue in Brussels between British government and EU, British Prime Minister Theresa May on Thursday set out to address the contentious issue of the future rights of EU citizens after Brexit. May has offered that those who arrive lawfully before Brexit will be given the chance to build up the same rights to work, healthcare and benefits of the UK citizens. May also said those EU citizens who had lived in Britain for 5 years could stay for life. May's proposal came in response to the EU's own offer on future rights of UK citizens living in other EU countries.
We will be going into negotiations. Those have started constructively. What I'm going to be setting out today is clearly how the United Kingdom proposes to protect the rights of EU citizens living in the UK and see the rights of UK citizens living in Europe protected. That's been an issue. We've wanted it to be one of the early issues that was considered in the negotiations.
But there are still some tricky technical questions to deal with. An estimated 3.2 million EU citizens live in the UK and there is much nervousness. May, however, reassured her EU partners, saying the UK does not want anyone to leave or families to be split up. Both sides would like to get the issues of citizens' rights wrapped up as soon as possible. It would be good for morale to get an early win, and they have more difficult issues to tackle.
Theresa May hat uns heute deutlich gemacht, dass Bürgerinnen und Bürger der EU, die sich bereits 5 Jahre in Großbritannien aufhalten, die vollen Rechte dann auch weiter behalten können. Das ist ein guter Anfang. Aber es stellen sich natürlich noch viele, viele andere Fragen. Und im Zusammenhang mit den Austrittsfragen sind auch Fragen der Finanzen zu bearbeiten. Es sind Fragen des
Meanwhile, there are two other thorny issues that have to be resolved early on: the UK's divorce bill and Northern Ireland border.
I'm not a dreamer, and I'm not the only one. I consider we have to respect the choice of UK, and we will negotiate, and we will see how it's possible to keep a smart cooperation on the different issues.
The UK is anxious to start negotiating a new trade deal soon, but the EU insists that its Brexit priorities must be addressed first. The UK election has left May seriously weakened, heading a minority government, which has fueled uncertainty about the whole Brexit process. May has vowed to take the UK out of both the EU single market. The UK's exit deadline is 30th March 2019. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
News from the United States now, and President Donald Trump has stated that he did not make secret recordings of ex-FBI chief James Comey. The statement comes after suggesting last month that he might have recordings that could damage the former FBI director. Now, Trump tweeted that he did not make and do not have any such recordings. It is noteworthy that lawmakers investigating the allegations of Russian meddling in the US 2016 election had asked the White House for any such recordings of Comey. Trump had kick-started speculation of recordings in the tweet that he had posted days after firing Comey. He had said that James Comey better hope there are no tapes of our conversations. The tweet resulted in a flurry of allegations and speculation that Comey was fired in order to hamper the FBI's investigation into the alleged Russian interference in the US election. The tweet also ultimately led to the appointment of a special counsel that has now taken over the investigation.
You guys asked for an answer. He gave you one. He said he would have it to you by the end of this week, which he did. And beyond timing of that, I can't really speak anything further.
On the Oval Office recordings?
I'm not aware of anything. I think his statement here is pretty clear.
But I'm asking more generally, just not specifically to Comey.
Again, not that I'm aware of, Hallie.
So no Oval Office recordings that you're aware of?
Not that I'm aware of.
Let's get you some more international news. Here is the World Wrap. Iraqi Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi has said that the liberation of the city of Mosul from Islamic State will be announced in a few days. The announcement came as Iraqi forces continued the fight against IS militants in their last stronghold in western Mosul. The terrorist group had blown up the landmark Al-Nouri Mosque in Mosul on Wednesday. The first Turkish ship carrying aid to Qatar departed on Thursday to break the embargo imposed on Doha by a number of Gulf countries. Now, trucks of vegetables are being sent to Qatar every week, looking upon the upcoming Eid ul-Fitr, which marks the end of Muslim fasting month of Ramadan. Around 105 Turkish cargo planes carried aid to Qatar earlier this month. A demonstrator was killed after Venezuelan troops fired what appeared to be rubber bullets at protesters as they attacked a Carlotte air base in Caracas. Now, despite volleys of tear gas and rubber bullets, a small group of protesters were able to rip down a section of the fence surrounding the air base. The death toll, meanwhile, rose to 76 in unrest since April. At least 34 people were killed and more than 50 were wounded after a car bomb exploded outside a bank in Lashkar Gah. The victims included members of police and civilians and staff of the New Kabul Bank in the southern Afghan province where the attack took place. The blast came as Afghans were preparing to celebrate Eid ul-Fitr next week. However, no immediate claims of any responsibility for the attack have been made. 4 Republican senators refused to vote for the bill repealing Obamacare, saying that the bill was throwing the health bill's fate into uncertainty. Republicans need to secure 50 votes where the bill comes on the floor next week. No Democrats are expected to support it. Now, US Senate leaders unveiled a draft of the legislation proposing to kill a tax on the wealthy that pays for it and reduce aid to the poor to cut costs. Time for some sporting action, and 4 Indian shuttlers will be in fray for the semi-final spot in the Australian Open Super Series badminton tournament today. In an all-Indian quarter-final today, now K. Srikanth will clash with the P. Sai Praneeth. Both the players registered hard-fought wins in their second-round matches on Thursday. Now, Srikanth, who had stunned world number 1 Son Wang Ho in the semi-finals of the Indonesian Open Super Series last week, once again produced a fantastic display to get the better of the South Korean opponent, beating him 15-21, 21-13, 21-13 in a 57-minute match. Now, Praneeth, on the other hand, overcame challenger from China's Huang Yuyang 21-15, 18-12, 21-13. Meanwhile, in the women's singles, Rio silver Olympic medalist PV Sindhu will take on Tai Tzu Ying of Taiwan, while Saina Nehwal will clash with the Sun Yu of China. Sindhu reached the quarterfinals with a comprehensive straight-to-game victory over China's Chen Xiangxin, while Saina Nehwal got the better of Malaysia's Sonia Chia in 3 games. Meanwhile, in disappointment for the hockey fans, now India crashed out of the Hockey World League semi-final after suffering a shock of 2-3 defeat against Malaysia in the quarter-final match on Thursday. In a below-par performance, India conceded as many as 7 penalty corners, 3 of which were converted by Malaysia. Now, for the men in blue, Ramandeep Singh scored both the goals. It was India's second defeat against Malaysia in little less than 2 months, having lost 0-1 to the same opponents, remember, in the Aslan Shah Cup last month. Now, with a win, Malaysia qualified for next year's World Cup to be held in India. They will face the reigning Olympic champions and world number 1 Argentina in Saturday's semi-final.
Just switched across, so it will be Razi Rahim, stopped by Shukri. Razi sweeps it in.
And in cricket, India will take on West Indies in the first ODI of the 5-match series at Port of Spain today. Now, the Champions Trophy finalists, India, are the favourites to win the series, but Indian captain Virat Kohli said that the men in blue will not take the Caribbean side lightly. Now, West Indies are currently ranked 9th at the ICC charts and are still uncertain of a spot for the 2019 World Cup. Now, Rohit Sharma has been rested for the tournament and he will be replaced by Ajinkya Rahane. A whitewash in the series will push India to 2nd spot in the ICC team rankings. However, it will end West Indies' chances of qualifying automatically for the 2019 World Cup. India's Caribbean tour comes amid an off-field controversies regarding Anil Kumble's controversial exit after fallout with captain Virat Kohli. Well, that's it from me and my team in this edition of Breakfast News. Thanks for watching and have a great day ahead.